What's going on, guys? My name is Kyle from Next Generation Sports Cards. I'm going to bring you along with my experience selling to PSA. I've done 3 separate orders now, selling directly to PSA and taking their cash offers. I'm going to show you guys what I learned, a little bit of the hiccups that I've had, and the successes we've had along the way, and kind of give you guys my final thoughts. So I've done 3 of these shipments over the course of August through now. I finally kind of finished off my last one actually yesterday. So I want to bring you guys along, kind of show you what it is. If you don't know, PSA is offering to buy cards at a certain price. They will send you an offer on a card, and that card you can sell directly to them if you have it in your vault for no fees, whatever that price is, that's what you get. The way the process works is you have to have the cards in your vault, so you can either grade cards and send it directly to your vault and take the offers. I don't know. They've recently launched, once they grade cards, they're going to give you the offer right then and there once the grade is there. I don't know if you can accept the offer at that point or if you have to ship them to the vault. It looks like the vault and PSA are separate places. I know when I ship to PSA, I send them across country to California. But when I'm shipping to the vault, I'm shipping it to Maryland. I live in Rhode Island, so Maryland's very close to me. Nice, quick, easy commute. Sending the cards directly to the vault, my graded cards at least. So I don't know in that aspect if they'll take that exact offer or if you have to ship them to the vault, wait for it to get settled into the vault, and then be able to take the cash offer. That's one thing I don't know. The other thing I don't know is, do you have to pay for a vault? So I pay for a PSA subscription to be able to grade cards throughout the year. I think it's like $100, something along that. I could be completely wrong. For some reason, I think that's how much it is. But I pay for that service. Along with that service, I get a vault, and that allows me to do this selling directly to PSA. So that would be something you have to look into, seeing if you can just sign up for PSA, have a membership with them, or like a certain username, password kind of thing, or if you actually have to pay for a membership to have a vault access. So that part I don't know. But if you have the vault and everything is able to go through with that, essentially what you're going to do is you're going to find your graded card. This is what I've been doing at card shows. So let's take this Justin Jefferson. All you're going to do is open up your PSA app, and you guys are going to see right here. You will click on the scan card, and you just hold your card up to the white box there. Make sure it aligns. The card it'll automatically read the card when you're aligned. You'll see it at the bottom kind of calculating, and then it will read it and give you this next step, which essentially is the card itself. And then you are simply just gonna be able to see the offer. It'll have an offer right there. So as you guys can see, I didn't save what this card's offer was. I think it was like $75, $57, something like that. But you can that's the offer that currently is out on that card for you. The offers can change at any point. So I've been going around to the card shows, and then the other way you can do it is you can do the certificate number. So you can go in, from the opening screen, you'll see on the search a card by either name or certificate right at the bottom there. You're going to type that in, and then you type in the cert number. It'll bring you with the card. You just got to select the card. With the cert number, it should only have one card unless there's multiple versions of that card somehow graded or that cert number used, which it shouldn't. You click on that card, and then it'll bring you to that last screen that gives you that offer there. I found that searching cards just by the card itself and finding it, I haven't been able to get values as far as an offer goes. I have to find it by the cert number, or I have to scan the card. I think that's PSA's way of just making sure that you have the card before they send you an offer. So that I don't know for sure, but and if they've changed that recently. But when I started doing this, I realized that it didn't seem like I was getting any offers, and then I tried it on a card that I had an offer on by just searching it, and it didn't give me an offer. So I had to either scan the card or I had to search it by a cert number in order to get those numbers. So I sent the PSA order in, realized that they were giving out these offers, and I ended up sending a lot of my PSA order back. I'm kind of walk through with you guys on these 3 deliveries that I did. So the first order I did, it's about 10 cards in total. I sent this order out on August 15th. It was delivered August 18th to PSA's vault, and I was able to sell my cards by August 24th. The weird thing that they kind of do is they'll eventually scan it in. So I think by like August 22nd or August 23rd, they scanned my cards in so I could see my cards, but it said sending to vault, and it didn't have an offer. It didn't allow me to sell the cards. It took a day or two from when they scanned it and I could see my cards to it actually getting into my vault. But the total turnaround time for everything was 10 days, from me putting the card in the mail to them accepting my offer, or me accepting their offer, I guess. So each card, I'm going to run down the first order, what each card was, what the offer was, what I sold it for, and then I actually looked up today's current date to just kind of see what the value was for everything else, just to see how much this actually fluctuates, and kind of give you guys a breakdown. So the first thing we sent out was this Josh Allen Sunday Kings PSA 10. On the 15th, they offered me $238.50. By the 24th, when it got to them and they were allowing me to make my sale, it dropped down to $230.51. If I still had that card today, supposedly if it was in my vault, they would give me an offer of $265.35. So you can kind of see how much it fluctuates, going as low as $230 up to $265. You have about a $35 swing with that card. Josh Allen Uptown PSA 10. They originally offered me $597.66. When by the time that it got to them, and that first day I accepted all offers, probably within like the first 10 minutes they allowed me to accept it. They sent me a text or an email that said, hey, it's in your vault. And then I immediately went on and sold everything. I sold this card for $588. It's about $9 difference from what they originally offered me. Today, if I had that card in my vault, they're offering me $638. We had an Aaron Judge Nebula Purple PSA 9. The offer was $47.88 the day I sent it. When it got to them, they were offering me $58.10. So that one was the first one that went up by about $10. Today, if I had that card still, they supposedly would be offering me $62.30. We had a Kyle Pitts Mosaic PSA 10. This card I've had for a while, just was never selling. The offer was $57.60. They sold it to me, or I sold it to them for $54.60. And today they would offer me $53.76. So that one's gradually going down. Kind of makes sense. We started to get into football season now, and Josh Allen, Aaron Judge, the guys that are kind of hyped right now and having a little bit of an upswing, their cards keep on going up, it seems like. And then the other ones, like Kyle Pitts, who hasn't really done too much to begin with, has gone down a little. Joe Milton, we had this PSA 9 Prism, red, white, and blue. They offered $14.40. By the time it got to them, they offered me $15.12, a little bit of an increase there. Today, they would give me $18 for that card. We had the Stephen Curry Prestige Rookie PSA 10. They offered me $367.92. By the time they got there, this one jumped a good amount, up to $394.27. If I still had that card today, they would offer me $449.40. So that's probably the biggest swing I've seen in a month, almost a $100 swing for that card, which is wild to me, but kind of see, where the market lies a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if I looked at Curry sales in the last month, if it's gone up a good amount as well. Jaden Daniels, we have the Donruss Rookie. They offered $33.30, sold it to them for $33.60. Today, they would offer me $26.55. We had the Ellie De La Cruz Spotlight from Bowman. That was a PSA 10. They offered me $38.54. Sold it for $33.62. And today, they would offer $36.86. With the Brock Bowers Fire Emoji, they offered $143.10. I sold it for $144.18. And today, they would offer $146.63. So most consistent card I've seen. We have the Ray Lewis SP Auto in the PSA 10. They offered $303.30. I ended up selling that card for $270.48. Today they would offer $266.49. We had a Tom Brady Topps Chrome X-Fractor PSA 9. They offered $78.80. They sold it to me for $69.70. So that one had a decent drop there. And today they would offer me $48.40. And then the last card we had in this sale, we get sent a Verstappen Chrome Orange PSA 10. They offered me $146.40. They sold it to me for $126.40, so about a $20 drop there. And today's market, they have no offer on that card. So that card was the first card that they would not be willing to take at the moment. The offers, as I said, do fluctuate. day to day, usually it seems like the card can either be there or just not. But overall, so when I first sent in all these cards, I was expecting to net $2,067.34. I ended up netting $2,018.58 off these sales. So we had a $48.76 difference between what I was expecting to get and what I ended up getting. So we lost a little bit of money in that 10 days of me sending the card in the mail and then getting it, receiving it, and then giving me the current offers. So they're based off eBay sales. When cards sell, you know, they're going to go up and down. Kind of makes a little bit of sense. For the fact that it's an instant offer, there's no fees. I was happy with the overall results there. Today's market value, they would offer me $2,011.74, and I would still have the Verstappen 10. So that would probably be the best case scenario, is to sell the cards now. Obviously, if you mix and match a little bit between when I sold it and when the current ones, some of them would have been better to sell right then and there. For the most part, it seems like most were better to hold for a little bit of time. But that just kind of to give you guys an idea of a little bit of the changes that happen when I'm selling my first lot there. Order number 2. This is the first order. I went to a card show and I was looking for cards to flip. So this card show, really it works best is if someone has like a bargain box of PSA cards. So it's nice when there's just a bunch of cards all in a row and you can just sit there and scan. You see the sticker on them. And if the card was lower than the sticker price, I put it aside. And then I was going to try to make piles. This show was pretty weak with that. So everyone obviously has their cards in the cases. You can search by the cert number if you want, if you think that there might be a good deal there. But it was harder to do that, search enough fast enough for me to make it worth my time, rather than just searching how I normally would search a show and trying to get some big bulk deals. So I didn't spend a ton of time on this, but when I first walked in, I thought that this was going to be an amazing show for me, because I ran into these 2 Michael Jordan cards. So I spent $160 on these 2 cards. We had the Michael Jordan 1999 Black Diamond PSA 9. So PSA was offering me $99.12 on this card. I sold it to them for $101.26. So we just needed to make another $59 in order to make this buy worth it. The second card we had was this Jordan 1999 Higher Power PSA 9. They were offering me $107.52 for this card. So in my head, I was going to make about $40 after shipping on these 2 cards. No brainer. Picked this card up, and by the time it got to the vault, there was no more offer on this card. So I was thinking, offers will fluctuate, but like when you're getting GOATs, getting some of the bigger players, I didn't really think that you would see like an offer completely disappear. But this is the one card I've had where it's a higher value card. The card had an offer, it disappeared, and so that card was shipped on August 18th. It was delivered on August 21st, so 3 days later it was delivered, and it was scanned in on August 24th. So that took a total of 7 days on this order to go from my mailbox, me dropping it off at the post office, to PSA and getting into my vault for me to sell. And in those 7 days that went away, since August 24th, the day I sold, and then when I had the ability to sell, that card has never had an offer back on it. Today is September 19th, day I'm recording this video. It's probably the day I'm going to be posting this video. So almost getting close to a month now, and there hasn't been an offer on it. I'm okay with it. It's a Michael Jordan card. It has some crazy comps on this card. I'm looking at it. I could see why maybe offers are taken away. It has sales from like 100, I can't remember the highest one, but there was like a crazy one that was like $200, all the way down to like $60, $70 with some consistent sales closer to that $100 range, but some like way up. So it's very inconsistent on the sales of this exact copy of the card, but it still has not sold. I'm having a PSA 9 Jordan. I think it's a pop of like 12 with maybe like 4 or 5 higher, 6 higher maybe. Nothing crazy, so it's a good card to have. I'm happy with it in the collection. To have that with $58.74 left to break even, I'm okay with that. That includes the shipping to PSA, because keep in mind, you have to ship these items to them. So you're paying for that. I don't pay for insurance most of the time, especially in this package with only like a $160 value. I don't usually upgrade the insurance unless I'm really sending in some high-end stuff. So less than $5 to ship it. I just put $5 for that. But that was my first kind of rendezvous into it. The third order, we shipped this order on August 27th, delivered August 30th, and it sold for $9, or the sold date was September 7th. So that was a 12-day turnaround time. That was the longest turnaround time. There was a holiday. There was Labor Day in between that day. PSA had that. I don't know if they work Labor Day, but there was 12 days for that lot to come in. So I'd say you're probably averaging about 10 days for most orders to get to them and shipped it and scanned in. Keep in mind, I'm in Rhode Island. I'm shipping it to Maryland. I don't know if everything gets shipped to Maryland, if the whole vault's there, if they have vaults across the country, but that is where I shipped it to. So it was a quick shipping, easy shipment. It probably won't take more than 2 days ever to get to them. In this case, it took 3, and I think it's because I sent it on a Friday. So, and there may have been the holiday in between that. No, because it got to them on the 30th. So I don't know exactly when it was sent, but no more than 3 days, we'll say. But I sent in, I'm not going to break down every single card in this one, but I sent 8 cards in this order. I spent $219 on these 8 cards and $6.28 to ship all 8 of these cards. My total all into this order was $225.28. So I sold 6 of the 8 cards for $279.18. That gave me a profit of $53.90 by just buying and selling directly to PSA. I still have one Ohtani. It's a PSA 8 rookie card there. It originally had an offer of like just below $30, and I was thinking about just holding on to one card, and that would be a good hold card to see what Ohtani's market does. And if his market increases, does my offer increase? I would assume it's going to. But that offer had dropped down to $25.20. It then went away, and now it's back. So I still have the offer back out for $25.20. I'm still holding on to it. I'm going to wait. But if I were to sell it today, I could make a profit of $79.10 on this lot. The other thing that I have with this lot is I do have a Blake Griffin rookie card, number PSA 9. It's kind of a lower prop, nothing crazy low, but they were originally, I bought the card, so it was stickered at $25. And here's kind of the weird thing about doing this. If you want to spend even more time, you can. I didn't really try to counter with like comps. I was countering strictly off PSA's offers. So that Blake Griffin has sales probably like, I think it was like the $15 range, more consistent. The person had it stickered at $25. I got a discount of I paid 90% of sticker price of everything that he had. When I did this deal, I probably should have tried a little bit harder to get a better deal, but I also threw in some other cards. I got a $100 card for $80. So there's a couple other things that I did for this lot. It wasn't just strictly this. But for that aspect, I got all the cards at 90%. Stickered at $25. They were offering me $35. I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the card for $22.50, sell it for $35, $7 come up. I'm happy with that. When I sent it to them, the offer was $10, so it dropped substantially down on that card, and now the offer is no longer there, completely gone, hasn't come back. That was delivered. Which one was that? That was delivered on the 7th of September. Today is the 19th, so it hasn't been too long in my vault, but that offer was completely gone. So I do have that card remaining left in this lot. So potential profit of $79.10 if I take the Ohtani sale right now, $25.20 or $53.90 total profit on this. So, and it's the first one that I strictly just doing PSA buying, selling. As I said, if you spend a little bit more time comping some of the cards, you might be able to get some even at a lower price. I was just scanning. This guy had 4 3-row boxes of just PSA cards. You also can do other cards. So you can do Beckett, you can do SGC, I think it said. There's a bunch of different brands you can send in, and they will do offers on in your PSA vault. I don't know how to see what they're willing to offer you. I don't know if you can scan them. I didn't even try it, to be honest. I've strictly just focused on PSA cards. for doing this, just because I want to make it as easy for me as possible. The other cool thing about doing this is I realized the unintentional profits that I was able to make. So I had 2 cards that I ended up finding strictly because they were very low pops. So one was this Cameron. I'm gonna try to post them here. This Cameron, it's a base heritage wrestling card. I've never heard of her. I don't know a ton about wrestling, so it's not saying a lot. But it's a pop 1, PSA 10, and he had a $10 tag on this card. I got it at 90%, so we bought it for $9. I figured PSA 10, pop 1, someone's gonna buy it. I put it up for $20. I got a couple of watchers on it, and I sent a 10% offer. It sold for $18. After fees, everything like that, I sold it for $15. So I made $6 on that card. Second card we ran into in this scenario, we have a Buster Posey. I got this card it was stickered at $20. I got it for $18, and I sold that card after fees and everything for $41. So a little over 20, was that $23 profit on that one card. So not cards I would have particularly picked up because they weren't exactly great eye appeal, but because I was scanning every single card, I realized that these were pop 1s. I'm going to pick up any pop 1 PSA 10. I did pick up a Chris Pratt first pitch card. It's a PSA 8. He had it in for $5, so I'm into it for $4.50. Chris Pratt, obviously very well known, kind of very popular. But it's a PSA 8, but it was the only one, it was a pop 1, none higher. So if I can make $10 on that card, I don't see why not possibly. It is the highest selling graded copy of it. I mean, that doesn't mean that someone can't just go get it out of there, bulk common lots and then send 10 in and get 1 PSA 10 and have a much higher pop. So it's definitely a card I want to flip on the short term there. And then we did get a Saquon Barkley. He had it stickered at $65. I forget what I ended up getting for that card, but it was just like a certified number to 99. There's, once again, no real reason that the reason why it's such a low pop is because no one's grading it. It's not because it's a tough grade. It's not because, it just happens to be the only one. It's because people just aren't physically sending it in. Someone could send that in tomorrow and that pop 1 is gone. So definitely cards I'm looking to flip a little bit faster, but it gives me an opportunity. Obviously, I'd pick up bigger names. I would not just pick up Joe Schmo because it's a pop 1. Unless it's dirt cheap like the Cameron was, I figured why not, and especially wrestling kind of has a little bit different of a market. So all in all, my thoughts on this is it is very exciting for the beginning. I'm excited to take advantage of it. I'm going to try my best to make a little bit of extra money off of this as quickly as I can, because I think once people catch on to the fact that this is a possibility, vendors are going to start to use that to their advantage. So if I'm a vendor, I'm going to scan the card and just say, hey, they're willing to give me $75 for this card and you want it for $60. Why would I do that? I think you're going to start to hear that at card shows, and you're going to start to see that on eBay, and you're going to start to see that with just general sales of cards, depending on how popular this does become. So I could see that being a real downside when you're trying to make deals, and you'll have to, any graded card I think will be a little bit harder to buy. Not like they're insanely easy to buy at the moment, but people are definitely a little bit more flexible when you're not dealing with like your case hits, your downtowns, your uptowns, that kind of stuff. So that could definitely put a little bit of a wrench in things if people can easily scan and get an instant value offer for it. But at the same point, it's going to keep on making the market move a little bit faster. It might make your PSA grading a little bit better. So when you're grading cards, if there's offers on 9s for, let's say, $25, when typically there's only an offer, like you're selling it for $20 plus you can't just send it in a plain white envelope. So now your shipping's $5. You're losing that $5. It might make the value of a PSA 9 a little bit stronger. So that part would be nice. When you're grading and you get a 9, you're not completely dead in the water. So small little victories like that. It'll be interesting to kind of see what happens in the long term. I'm super excited for it. I'm going to keep taking advantage of it. I'm going to a card show this weekend, and that's pretty much what I'm going to focus on. It's a very large card show. I think a lot of the times at these huge shows, it's harder to deal with the vendors because they just expect a little bit more money. I think a lot of these bigger shows, in my opinion, you can definitely find some people that are willing to work with you and you can get some nice deals done. I tend to like my smaller shows. I do a little bit better at them. But this is just an opportunity for someone like me where I can now go, and if I can find those 2 row, 3 rows of people with just graded cards, I'm going to sift through that all day long, see what I can put together for stacks. And I know in 10, or let's say in my case, 7 to 12 days, PSA is going to cash me out, and they send it directly to my account. It's set up through, I think it's called Link, where they automatically go to your bank account and then they just send it right to you. No fees, no headache. It was super easy. I've done about 4 or 5 payouts because on like that third order, there was a card that I sold yesterday that finally, it didn't have there was actually 2 cards originally that didn't have any sort of offer on it, and that card got an offer yesterday. I took a loss on that card, but all in all, I'm making money on that lot, so I don't care. I look at it as a lot, not as individual cards. So happy to do that, but now it was only $11, but it's $11. I'm not shipping anything. I'm just getting paid now. I think what I'll end up doing at the end of the year is if I have a bunch of cards in my vault, hopefully all those cards are in the profit at that point, and I'm just going to put them on auction through PSA and just let them run it. It'll be interesting to kind of do that. I've tried putting a card on when the cards are in your vault. You can list them for auctions through PSA, and you can list them through a buy it now. I put them up for a buy it now. It's up within a minute. It's very fast, very easy. I wonder if the auctions are the same way. So if I can go in and put an auction, I can kind of stagger it a little bit. If that's how they're going to let me do it. And then I get to schedule the day, I get to schedule the time. It's a 7-day auction, I believe. So I know when it's going to end. That would be perfect. One of the reasons I don't like the idea of like selling, because PSA was doing an offer where they were letting you grade with them and they gave you a lower tier discount as long as you were willing to, no matter what the grade was, immediately auction with PSA. I don't like that aspect because I don't know what day it's going to be scheduled on. I don't know what day it's going to end. I don't know what time it's going to end. I want my West Coast teams to end closer to, I would say like 10 and 11 o'clock East Coast time, because that's like 7, 8 o'clock for them, when the more of their fan base is up and about. And obviously East Coast, I want to end, 8 to 10 p.m. my time. I wouldn't want that ending at like midnight. It wouldn't make sense. So little variables where I like to have my card in the vault first before doing it, but I will eventually try the auction part of it to see how that works. But that's just kind of a quick little breakdown of my experience with selling directly to PSA, how it went, what I think of it. There's also the aspect of people saying, now that PSA is involved, our grades, is every card going to get a 10, that kind of stuff. I obviously don't think every card's going to get a 10. That would ruin their credibility. It doesn't make much sense on their aspect. Now, I've also heard people saying, like, people that say they're going to sell their graded card directly to them, or they agree to the direct auction, that they're going to get better grades. You can make a point for it. It makes sense. I don't think PSA is going to do that. I might be naive. As an overall business model, it doesn't make sense. Yes, obviously, if they grade that card a 10 and give it a little bit of boost, and then they know that it's going to auction and they get some sort of profit to it, I could see that, but it doesn't, in the grand scheme of thing, I don't really follow that kind of trend. I like to think everyone's in the good and doing everything for the right. I know there's plenty of examples with all businesses of wrong things happening, but that's a different point. This is mainly just to kind of talk about my experience with buying and selling directly to PSA. If you guys have questions, drop them down below. I will answer every question I see come through here. But if you guys haven't already done so, please like, subscribe, comment, all that greatly helps me out. I'll catch you guys in the next one.